This is Bobby from Dynamic Disc, and I'm here to tell you about a product called Dymax. Dymax is a proprietary process we use to put the most detailed images on a disc. We can Dymax your tournament discs, or even send us your trophy discs. Send us an image and we'll Dymax it.
Can I Dymax my car?
Yeah, we can Dymax your car.
Can I Dymax my cat?
Yeah, we can Dymax your cat. Isn't he cute?
Can I Dymax my lunch?
Well, that's kind of weird, but yeah, we can Dymax your lunch. Go online today to order from our pre-made Dymax discs or send in your image so we can create your custom Dymax. Learn more at dynamicdisc.com/Dymax.
Good afternoon, disc golfers and disc golf fans. We'd like to welcome you to the 2015 Dynamic Discs Glass Blown Open presented by Latitude 64. My name is Robert McCall. I'm going to be your Dynamic Disc TV studio host. Right now we're going to send it out to the Municipal Golf Course with Dixon Jowers, who's going to have your play-by-play. We're going to start with some pre-round coverage.
Hi, we are out here at the Municipal Golf Course in beautiful Emporia, Kansas, and I'll tell you what, we could not have ordered a better day. Mid-70s, light breeze, the grass is green, the players are excited, and the tournament has been well underway since about 8 o'clock this morning. We're nearing up on 2 o'clock Central Time right now when our lead card will tee off. The third card is actually about to go off right now. I can see that some of the ladies groups are coming off the course, so scores are rolling in. These guys could not have asked for better conditions out here today. This course is about 7 town, which generally means that whatever the wind is doing in town, add 10 miles an hour out here. But today, you can see this flag is moving a little bit, and out here, that's fantastic. I've actually played one full practice round out here. It's about 25 mile an hour wind coming out of the south. Designer asked him how he's been playing out here, and all of his rounds, he said, has been rain, cold, has been blowing a ton, and so a day like today is unlike anything that's happened pretty much since this course has gone permanent in the last month or so. So what I want to go is go talk to a couple of the players that are going to be getting started right now, kind of see what they're thinking, see what they think is going to happen on the course today. So let's wander over here to the practice basket, see who we can before. How you doing? Good. All right. Welcome to Emporia. Are you ready to play some golf today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm as ready as I will be. I think all week. I was practicing like I was going to play, and I have this injury from this accident. So I can't say I'm 100%, but I think I can work through it and play my game as best I can with my injury.
Yeah, we saw the posts on Facebook. We saw your car. It looked like a terrible accident. Everybody is super glad that you're okay. Do you feel like you're 100%? Do you feel like you're just going to kind of limp through, or what do you think you can do out here this weekend?
I'm definitely going to play the best I can. I've got this injury. It affects my throw a little bit, but like I said, I think I can work around it, and, I'm going to play as best I can. I think I can still be right there, up there in the hunt with this injury as long as I play my game.
I think that's an incredible testament to your skill, is that even 60%, you're still probably beat me by 20 strokes, and you can still hang with these guys. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you made it through. I'm glad that you're still able to play. Thanks for coming to Emporia and to the Glass Blown Open.
Thanks, Dick.
Good luck today, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
All right. It takes a lot to be able to go through the things that he's went through. He actually has some pretty serious whiplash right now, and yet he's still going to come out here. He's still going to throw. He's going to give it the old college try. Scores out here, the par on this course is a 60, so really anything around that is respectable. In these conditions, though, with the caliber of these players, they're going to be looking to go lower than that. I spoke to a couple of our lead card players, and they're all thinking that a good score is going to be in the low 50s. Eric McCabe and Will Schustrick both think that there's going to be somebody that's going to shoot 47, 48, somewhere around there. They weren't going so far as to say that they were going to be the ones to shoot that, but just that those scores were possible given the course, given the conditions. Let me tell you a little bit about this course. It's a little over, or right around 9,000-foot course, which is pretty big for a disc golf course. We have put these 18 holes out on half of the disc golf course, or excuse me, on the ball golf course here at the Emporia Municipal Golf Course. It's a beautiful facility. The grass is lush and green, incredibly well maintained. So what that does for disc golf is that means on the fairways, on the ball golf fairways that we're going to be playing on, you can launch some enormous rollers because the grass is so smooth and so well manicured. But what it means is that in the rough, the rough grass is thicker than most disc golf courses, and so if you're trying to get some sort of skip or play off of the rough, it's generally not going to happen. One of the big differences between this course and the other ball golf course that we have in town at the Emporia Country Club is that this course is relatively flat, which means that the wind can come whipping through here a lot more than it can at the Country Club. At the Country Club, one of the main features of that course is the incredible terrain conditions within Emporia. It's going to be quite a different show, even though it is on a long ball golf course. It's going to be quite a bit different. So we are coming up on our tee times here in just a minute. It looks like our second card is going to tee off here in about 5 minutes. And then our lead card will be teeing off right at 2 o'clock. So what we want to do is send it back over to Robert in the studio, listen to a couple of our sponsors that have been so generous in bringing the Glass Blown Open coverage to you. We want to thank everybody that's had a part to do with this, and we are looking forward to an exciting weekend of golf, and we're looking to bring you incredible coverage of the action here in Emporia for the disc golfers that couldn't make it. So thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with live coverage here in just a little bit. Let me send it back over to Robert, and he'll let you know a little bit about our sponsors.
Thanks for joining us at Dynamic Disc TV. We're going to cut to a few commercials before we come back for our lead card coverage. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, this is Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
And I'm Eric McCabe.
And we want to invite you to check out our podcast, The Disc Golf Answer Man, where myself and Eric McCabe, 2010 Pro World Champion, answers your disc golf questions. Any questions on discs to choose, life on the road.
Don't forget about the Ralph updates.
And even Ralph updates. So check us out. We have segments where we talk about health and wellness of disc golf, mind, body, disc, and he talks about the mental part of the game. So check us out on iTunes or Stitcher, or just look us up at discgolfanswerman.com.
Ask every top-level player if putting practice is important, and you will get a unanimous yes. Introducing the Recruit Basket by Dynamic Discs. This basket is tournament quality at a practice price. It can be put together or taken down in about 2 minutes and comes with all the necessary hardware and tools. The Recruit Basket has 13 inner and 13 outer strands of zinc-coated chains. The rest of the basket is electrophoresced first, and then powder-coated for protection from the natural elements. Weighing in at just over 50 pounds, it's very sturdy, but with the built-in wheel on the base, it's very easy to move. The Recruit Basket is easy to carry in a car's trunk because the pole is made of 2 parts. It also comes with an in-ground sleeve for a more permanent and secure installation. Get ready for tournaments. Get better. Get the Recruit.
Registration for the 2015 Trilogy Challenge is underway, and it is time to get your event registered and on the calendar. In 2014, we had over 250 events with 10,000 plus players. This year, with your help, we're looking to blow that out of the water. The Trilogy Challenge is a great way to promote the sport that we all love and get more players involved with playing disc golf. One of the great things about the Trilogy Challenge is that players get everything that they need to play disc golf for just $30. Players packs for the 2015 Trilogy Challenge include 3 unreleased discs yet again. It includes the Dynamic Discs Fusion Evidence, which is the mid-range, the Latitude 64 Retro Makana, which is the putter, and the Westside Discs Elasto Sampo, which is the driver. It also includes a mini marker, a clipboard, and a black permanent marker, and players will also be competing for additional prize packages, which include additional discs, bags, and other merchandise. The Trilogy Challenge runs worldwide from May 29th to September 20th, and players across the world can play in this event. Another great aspect about the Trilogy Challenge is that anybody can host an event, whether you're a tournament director, local club, touring pro, or just somebody looking to get more players involved with disc golf in your area. And it can also help raise a few dollars for yourself, club, course improvement, or charity of your choice. Check out trilogychallenge.com for more information and to get your event registered so that you don't miss out on all the action.
Disc golf is a sport growing in popularity all over the United States and around the world. Dynamic Discs is the premier disc golf manufacturer, distributor, and retailer for enthusiasts, beginners, experts, and hardcore players. Along with hosting some of the best professional disc golf association tournaments in the country, Dynamic Discs also takes pride in offering the best customer service in the disc golf industry. At Dynamic Discs, customer service isn't just a department, it's the way we do business. Our entire staff at Dynamic Discs is knowledgeable and passionate about growing the sport and providing you with an exceptional experience. We know how important it is to get the products that you order in your hands as quickly as possible. Orders are shipped immediately from our own inventory and arrive at your doorstep in 2 to 3 days to almost any location around the United States. Check us out at dynamicdiscs.com.
This is Bobby from Dynamic Disc, and I'm here to tell you about a product called Dymax. Dymax is the proprietary process we use to put the most detailed images on a disc. We can Dymax your tournament discs, or even send us your trophy discs. Send us an image and we'll Dymax it.
Can I Dymax my car?
Yeah, we can Dymax your car.
Can I Dymax my cat?
Yeah, we can Dymax your cat. Isn't he cute?
Can I Dymax my lunch?
Well, that's kind of weird, but yeah, we can Dymax your lunch. Go online today to order from our pre-made Dymax discs or send in your image so we can create your custom Dymax. Learn more at dynamicdisc.com/Dymax.
So here we are on hole 1 at the Municipal Golf Course. Our chase card you can see over my shoulder. They are out there playing their second shots right now, and our lead group is about to get started. In case you're not aware, our lead group today is the former champions of the Glassblown Open. So it's the last 4 people that have won the tournament that are here. So that's Nate Doss, Eric McCabe, Will Schustrick, and Simon Lizotte from last year. So this should be a fantastic card of people that have done well in this town. Cale LaVisca was supposed to be on this card, but he had to pull out due to an injury. So Cale, I hope you get better. We always love when you're in town, and we wish you the best of luck in the next tournament that you play. So let's talk about hole 1 here. It's a 647-foot hole. The drive is a difficult drive, and it's a drive where you need to make a choice. On the right-hand side of the hole is where a lot of these guys are playing. There's a levee there. It takes about a 350 or 400-foot shot to get there. If you are able to stay close to the levee, that gives you a pretty straight shot of about 300 feet. The problem with that is that you are throwing from the bottom of the levee, and the basket is at the top of the levee. The whole right side of the fairway and the basket is an OB going down into a pond. And then on the left-hand side, there's actually kind of an OB island in the middle of the hole. You can choose to go that way, or you can choose to throw a big hyzer off of the box, which is a much safer drive. However, you have to land in a very small landing zone in order to hit the gap through the island. But if you're able to land on that specific zone right there, it leaves you with a great chance of getting up and down for the 3. The problem with the hyzer is that if you are offline, you're going to struggle to get the 4. The problem with the hyzer is you have to be perfect in order to get the 3. So we're going to see how aggressive these guys are coming right off of the first hole of the tournament here. Are they going to try to get a 3 on the very first hole that's pretty difficult, or are they going to be happy with the 4? We'll see how these guys are going to play it. These are some of the best golfers in the world, and so it'll be interesting to see how they choose to step into a national tour level tournament in the mindset that they're coming in with. This course is relatively open. There is lots of OB, and we've got some guys that can throw a long way on this card. Plus, we have, and this isn't meant as an insult, but we have Nate Doss and Eric McCabe, who are not known for their distance, they're known for their accuracy. So we'll actually see 2 different kind of styles of golf on this one, where Will and Simon are going to be throwing long bombs, and Eric and Nate playing probably more for position so they can put themselves in. The interesting thing is that they're probably all going to score right about the same thing. They're just going to go about it in 2 completely different ways. So we'll see kind of the 2 different main ideas in golf of aggressive, try to birdie everything, versus try to not get any bogeys and get those birdies when you can. So we are about to step up live here. Scott Reek, our tournament director out here at the Municipal Golf Course, he has already spoken to the players, and he is about to step to the tee. You might hear some songs in the background. Each player has actually selected a tee-off song. Will right here, I think, is going with Careless Whisper, maybe. We'll see. But here in a moment, we're going to get going. So we are welcoming you into the live coverage of the Glassblown Open 2015. So let's step to the tee and see what they're going to do.
awesome group. Today's play starts off with Simon Lazat from Germany.
Simon goes with the big hyzer. Looks like he swings it out a little wider than you would think, but he is in a nice spot on the drive. That's going to be a pretty difficult upshot from there. Simon looks like he's taking the same line as, or excuse me, Will's taking the same line as Simon, and in this thick grass, he gets about a 10-foot skip on a pretty sharp angle, but he is sitting in a nice spot as well. Okay, and Eric is throwing in sync with Phil Collins, puts the bio enforcer out right with everybody else. And Nate going with his Z-Pred. He is throwing that same hyzer line, and he is at the bottom of the levee. So looks like all four of our competitors are on the same line, just at varying distances. So now, as it is with this hole, we're going to see how great their approach game is. All of them are sitting, say, between 300 and 400 out. They're going to have a tight hyzer or a tight flick shot for the right-handers. So we're going to see what they're able to come up with. Robert, what do you think about laying up to this level shot? Is this something that you would generally do?
Play for me. We kind of argued about this yesterday about which side the guys would pick. There's the far left side, which is pretty, it's difficult to access off the tee, and then it's a difficult shot to the basket as well. However, from the right side, you can see that if you get up close to that mound, you've got a little kind of like a flick shot to the basket. I think all these guys are capable of throwing that kind of shot, and so I'm interested in seeing how they attack this hole, if they go with a flick or if they go with kind of an anti-turnover or something like that.
Yeah, I think most of these guys are lining up for the flick, and maybe the problem is that I'm terrible at throwing a flick, and so I just can't imagine laying up for this shot. But it's going to be a very difficult a shot. They're going to have a tight line throwing to an elevated basket. No, and the wind is not going to be an issue here. However, it's still quite a tight shot.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how they attack it.
I was waiting for him to go.
So it looks like Nate is going to be up first. This is every bit of 350 feet. There is a short OB to the left. That's not really into play. The problem is going to be the left to right swing. This is a Z force that Nate is throwing here. It's holding nice. Uh-oh, it looks like it is. And he has hyzered over the levee and to be OB right there. You might occasionally hear airplanes come. The Emporia Airport is right next door. And that plane just gets a little bit of a buzz. So Emac now, he's a little bit pinched on his flick. Backhand shot. This is actually a shield. It's a putter. And Emac takes this shot. He throws down to the bottom. He got easy 4, and he's given himself about a 50 or a 60-foot hill for the 3. So Will is up next. This is his 400 series. Will puts it out to the left, trying to play a skip up the hill. Looks like he hits right at the, so he, about a 30-footer with the OB right. Simon is stepping up. This is his C. Oh, well, we had quite a bit of action right there. Simon landed at
that right now.
Crest of
they're
Levy.
probably getting. They want to get 3 or 4 practice rounds, preferably.
Hard off the levee and was shooting towards OB. However, he did hit the tree right there and fell straight down. So it's possible. Skip that close to water, he still might be in bounds, and depending on where he landed, he might putt. So Robert, if you throw a best shot and you get some sort of lucky break, do you feel bad at all, or are you high-fiving yourself?
That's going to be a self-high-five. If you beat yourself up about getting a bad break, I mean a good break, you're just wasting a potential opportunity. Actually, one of the best people who takes advantage of those in the world is on this card. I've seen Eric McCabe throw a shot that's just slightly offline and that gets a perfect kick to like a 40-footer, whereas before he might have been 80 or so, and he just bangs that putt. He always takes advantage of them. I think it's important to take advantage of those lucky breaks.
Eric had laid himself up to that 70-foot putt. He is putting with his Ralph stamped Hard Mercies, and he lays that up. So he's got about a 5-foot for the. Simon are investigating over here. I'm not sure if they're looking for Simon's or Nate's. No, they found Simon. He even fell down safe. Or so. He is on one knee, slight left-right headwind. And that's why he wins tournaments, folks. He doesn't just throw far. And seeing how many steps he took, that might have even been over 40 feet. That was quite a putt by Simon. Robert, have you ever thrown?
You know, I've thrown one of those one time. I just kind of closed my eyes and let it fly, and yeah, it was pretty great. I don't do it nearly as often as Simon does.
Well, whatever it really is. Yeah.
Well, keep practicing, buddy. Maybe that'll work out for you.
I plan on it.
So they have found Nate's disc. Even though he hyzered out high on his flick, he hits something, and he is safe. He's not OB. However, he is not in an enviable spot. What do you suggest on a putt like this, where the chances of making it are very slim and the chances of bad things happening are pretty good? You think Nate should win this
I
one?
think that's all up to Nate when he's looking at it. If he feels confident when he steps up to it, he needs to confidently pick his spot and just jam it. And if not, he needs to confidently put it on the pole, take his 4, and be happy that that he didn't get worse on the hole. But being one of the best in the world, he might be able to just go for it.
And he has about 35 feet. That bounces off the top, down on the left. It rolled away just a tiny bit, but he is still on the upslope, probably less than. So it was a good run, and he didn't do much. About that same distance, 35-ish feet, but he is no wind to speak of. If there's anything, it's a little bit behind him. And Will Cantor, that was a great putt right there. Will has several different putters that he uses. They are all 350G PA3s, and it's just based on the sort of stability that he wants. So he's going to be putting those all day. Eric is going to be putting with the Mercies. Nate Doss putts with Challengers. Oh, he as well. I think he's got 4 different Challengers in his bag. And for his 4, those good drives. We had 2 great putts to save birdie on this hole. Nate and Eric. So as we wander second tee, I'll let Robert tell you a little bit about out here at the Municipal Golf Course.
All right, hole number 2 out here at Municipal. Your tee shot to clear the water, you're looking at about, I think we said 350 to 360 to clear the first little inlet of water. Once you're past that, you've got another inlet of water to beat, and it's about another 400, 450 foot shot depending on where you land. This is going to be a pretty difficult 3 depending on the wind. If it's a headwind, that's going to be it's going to be pretty tough. So I anticipate with these guys being some of the best in the world and that they're constantly aggressive, one or two of them are probably going to try and get that 3. It's difficult by the basket because the water is probably only 20 or 25 feet from the basket, and the OB sidewalk behind the basket is only about 15 feet away. And so it's a very challenging hole. I think taking a 4 on this, you're not losing strokes to many people on the field. No more than half a stroke, I think, on the field if you take a 4.
Absolutely smashed. That is that's quite a drive. And Will trying to copy some. This is a 400G D1, and he has killed that as well. Both of these drives are fantastic so far. At least 424 this hole. Now Eric going with the same Biofusion in 4 last hole. And he as well is safe into the fairway. Not as far as the other 2, but still definitely within reach, and probably a little bit of a better angle to get into the hole there. And Nate with the Z4. Flat to hyzer, and it looks EMAC So everybody is in safe. They are within range to go for that second shot if they would like. So Robert, they're looking at anywhere, say, I don't know, 270 to 350 to clear the water between these four. There is a big oak tree on our side of the water, and there is an upslope and OB behind the basket on the other side of the water. Is this something that you would go for?
Oh gosh, this is going to be a tough decision. With it being so early in the tournament, honestly, I would probably lay up, but that's why I'm only 1,000 rated. I think these guys are going to go for it. Eric and Nate may lay up because they're a little bit farther back. They're probably looking at another 400, 420, maybe 380, something like that. So they may lay up, but I would be really, really surprised if Will and Simon laid up. It seems like they've got a pretty standard hyzer. Even though it is a very tight landing zone, I think they have the opportunity to score. They just absolutely crushed their drives out there, and that opens opportunities on this hole.
Water. Yes, you are coming to a landing zone. It's probably about 20 to 25 feet from water basket. Walk right behind, so you're looking at about a 40 to a 45-foot landing zone. The hyzer is probably the best way to come in. Eric and Nate are looking pretty much a dead straight shot. If they want to do that, they're adding quite. Shot is awful. Tempting looking from here, but it is a Z Predator from Nate, and he is across. I believe he was safe. The tree was actually stymieing me. Oh yeah, there I see him. So Nate is in. He is probably right on the circle's edge. That was a fantastic shot. Going loose, it fell in. Looks like a great line. He is around the tree. Oh, and he absolutely parks it. Fantastic shot by Eric McCabe. That's about 10 feet for his birdie putt. Magnificent shot. So Simon here is looking at probably about 250. And there's no way, I can't see any way that he did anything other than the hyzer here. Have to absolutely thing low and flat in order if you want to take that straight shot. But it looks like he is pulling out a PD. And the hyzer is up, it's swinging around. And he's pin high, probably 30 feet right. That may have even been his P2, or PD2, I mean. So this is Will's 750 H1, and he is sitting on a, does not really have to challenge the tree. He can right. If there is any wind, it's pushing right to left a little bit in his head, so it would help a little bit, but it's not terribly necessary. And goes with lower shot. And he is across. He may have been hoping for a skip, but he caught a little bit of the upslope, and it has bounced back into the right. So they are all safely across. So Robert, on a hole like this where you have to have 2 good shots to even putt, now you've got about a footer. Is this something that you're upset if you miss, or are you thinking going into this hole that a 4 is a good score, and so
it's funny kind of how your mindset can change following your shots on a hole. If I'm any of these guys and I've thrown 2 magnificent shots, if I don't make this 30-footer, yeah, I'm going to be pretty upset. But if you go back and think about the round, and you at the beginning of the round said, hey, I'm going to take a 4 on this hole, I'd be really happy with that. And so it's one of those things that if you make that putt, you're going to be happy with it. You took advantage of it. If not, your mindset needs to be, it's okay, I was planning on a 4. But I can guarantee these guys are wanting to make all these putts. It seems like most of them played to the correct side of the green, where they've got a little wider landing zone. So they've got a 30-footer that's not looking directly at OB. They're looking at the big tree, lots of grass behind it. So they've made a good play. We'll see if they knock these putts down.
So is under over for.
I got you, Dixon. When I'm coming into a round like this, you just kind of have to roll with the punches. If you start hot, you want to kind of keep that momentum going. If you don't, you're going to try and spend some time scrapping together a couple birdies, seeing maybe some places that you can attack. Sometimes that's difficult. You know, on a course like this, if I step up to that second hole, I'm not thinking that it's going to be an automatic birdie or one that I should be counting on. But for these guys, they can kind of get on that track, and so it really depends on your mindset. You have to roll with the punches. If your round starts hot, you need to be ready to carry that out. Not get too wrapped up in it and say, I've got all these birdies, I don't need a bogey. But just keep throwing your shots, keep committing to your lines. If it starts kind of slow, it's really important for you to get back to the basics. Pick out one swing thought, use that, have that be what propels you for a little bit. So yeah, you have to be ready to respond to any of those situations during a round of disc golf.
So hole 3 is 543. This is out of reach for just about everybody, except for this guy that's on the. And so I doubt that's in his mind right now. This is a PD2, I believe. Hit is out to the right, hyzering back, and hyzering in. That's time. It looks like he's a little upset, but that's every bit of 450. So we'll go with that same baby blue D1 from hole 2, and he puts his hyzer quite a bit more tight than Simon, and he has actually outdriven Simon. There. And Erica going with the opposite, the anhyzer line that is getting flat and hyzering back. Eric with the Ballista, a relatively new disc by Latitude, came out this last Christmas. Nate going with his old standby, his ESP nuke, and he has nuked that one. I might need to rethink what I said earlier about Eric Nate being a little bit shorter than the rest of the. But those drives were fantastic. So, wow, Robert, when you play with somebody that can throw that far, is that intimidating? Is that something that you want to worry about, or do you just go about your game and not worry how the other guys play it?
Those are two different questions. Is it intimidating? Yes, it's intimidating. These guys throw so very far. It's like you hear somebody say, "Hey, I can throw 500," and you're like, "All right, yeah, that's cool." But then when you watch them do it, it's pretty incredible, especially when they do it on a golf shot. You know, there are several people who can throw 500 in a field. These guys can throw on golf lines. It's pretty incredible. So yes, it can be a little intimidating, but during the round, if your mindset is I have to match what everybody else is doing, that's going to take you out of your mindset and your game plan, which would, I think, be the absolute wrong move. So you've got to stick to your game plan. You know, if you're playing a hole for a 3 and somebody rips one up there and they've got to look at a 2, you can't get discouraged by that. You've just got to take your 3 and move on. If you adapt your game plan to somebody else, then you're playing something other than the course, and I think that strategy is going to end you up with a worse score.
Yeah, and that echoes what the pros were saying the other night at our pro panel. Game. So this is a 500. Guess what? Simon has thrown a over 500.
That is unbelievable. Think about that. A mini. He threw it over 500 feet. Most people would kill to throw 500 feet with their fastest driver, and he threw a mini that far. That is unbelievable to me. I think it's more impressive than his distance record.
Always does. Looks like he doesn't worry about what we're all concerned with when we step up. To hole 4.
Welcome back. We're about to start coverage on hole 4 as we watch our lead card tee off on this next hole. Thanks for watching.
Pretty routine up and down for him. Nate going with the low shot. He's going to need some ground action. And he got a skip and across the sidewalk, and I see some people waving the safe sign down there. So either his disc slid into home or he has come back across safe into the fairway.
You got a weird top to him, so if he'll get him super tight, you loosen up on the end.
So as you can see, we've got quite a crowd following. With our card, we've got probably 50 to 60 people, and for the card right in front, it's got at least that many, maybe more. And this is such an entertaining thing to watch. Ken Climo and Patrick Brown just sped by on a golf cart to go see what's happening. This is the fun part of having a tournament with this many players in, is that, well, hey, there you go, the 27-time world champion just sped by to go see what's happening. And just over on the next card, I saw Jeremy Coling hit about a 50 or 60 footer. That was a great putt. I'm assuming that was for a 2. Great putt by Jeremy over there.
Robert, can you hear me?
Eric going with the proto verdict on an upshot. Oh, and he almost cans that. That was the mythical Eric McCabe forehand right there. You might see a rainbow-colored unicorn come running across shortly. So Nate had come back in. He's got about a 40-footer, pretty wide open. I can see that Will is about 10 feet away. What a fantastic drive. So these guys are looking over, waiting on the next hole. And they look over and see Ricky Wysocki put one in. I'm assuming that's for a birdie as well. But the chains and the clapping to stop before Nate was going to go with his putt. Oh, and Nate had a really good angle on that. I thought that was going in, and it dropped out of the sky right at the last second and catches the front rim. Simon is actually in front of this tree. That tree is right at 30 feet, so he's maybe 27, 25 feet or so. And he hits front cage as well. So it's going to be another par for Simon there. And Eric is going to step up. It looks like his verdict was not as close to going in as I thought. He has gone about 30 feet deep. Checking the wind. It's a slight headwind, a little bit right to left. So let's see if the Mercy goes in. And Eric does exactly what Eric does. This is pretty much what won him a world championship, is just clutch putting. This guy is incredible for the circle and in on up to about 45, 50 feet or so. It seems like he is always hitting chains, if not sticking everything. But I guess when you can throw a 450-foot drive and have a 10-foot putt for birdie, that's pretty cool too, and that's what Will does. So Will is in for the 2. Everybody else is in for the 3. So we will move on to our 5th hole. Everybody hanging out either at even par or under par. It's a great start for these guys at the Municipal Disc Golf Course. bit of skip. As grassy as it is up there. Looks like he's going to be about 30 feet out left. Oh, and he actually gets a really soft skid and slides up right underneath the basket. Perfect shot for this hole. Nate powers a straight shot with his C-force, needs it to duck underneath that limb. Oh, and wow, he catches a little bit off of the tree, which slowed him down. Actually put it into ace range at that point. It looked like it was going to take a skip off the ground. That was a great spot, maybe 15 or 20 feet left. Great drive by Nate on that hole. And these guys all show pretty much a textbook way of playing this hole. You want to put something, as the right-handed thrower, you want to put something out on the right-handed side that's a stable disc and trying to get it to skip. It'd be pretty difficult to throw a flat shot all the way to this basket. So that's why they throw a higher speed disc, put it out to the right. And so it looks like Will is going to be up first, and he is pin high. And even though he's on the right side of the trees, he's managed to land in the opening. So he's got about 35 feet. It's a slight headwind on this putt, so he's going to need to aim a little bit low. And Wills comes out, it was never really high enough. And the wind gets on the nose of the disc. He did not get the nose up enough, and it just powers him down. Eric with about 20 feet, straight back into the wind. And the Ralph Mercy is up and in for the 2. Nice putt by you, Matt. Good confident putt right there. Simon in for his 2 as well, and Nate's going to have about 10 feet for his 2. There's really only a couple of holes out at the municipal course where you really go into it thinking, I need to get a 2 on this one. And this is one of them, and these guys do what great professional disc golfers do, and they get what they're supposed to. And so Will goes and cleans up his 3, and we move on to hole 6 out here. So this will be the end of the first third of the course. It's a good time for players to kind of take temperature on how well they're doing, if they need to start getting aggressive, if they want to keep doing what they're doing. So hole 6, it is again a 437 foot. It's the same distance as hole 4. This one, though, it's a lot more gettable for a couple of different reasons. Number one, the second half of this hole is downhill. It's not a great downslope, but it's a good 5 or 10 feet. So your disc is going to carry further, and then also as it lands on a hyzer on that downslope, much greater chance of it skipping towards the hole. There is one big right in the middle of the fairway that they're teeing off from the cart, and everything left of the cart path as well. So while it does narrow down and make a corridor, at the skinniest part, it's probably 60 feet, and it gets wider and wider as you go down the hill. So pretty much I'm not concerned about these guys putting anything in the tall grass because they're great at throwing hyzers. And Simon has it on a great angle. Oh, and he catches, there's a tree that's about 50 feet short and right that you actually want to come under. Simon hits that square and falls on the back side of that tree. And Eric takes, he was going for the lower route and kind of comes over the top of it. It's that same biofusion enforcer that he's been throwing. It gets flat for a lot longer than he wanted. Probably 10-mile-an-hour headwind right now. Hyzer's back in, probably got about 100 to go. Nate coming in now with his ESP nuke. And it is powering down flat. It needs it to hyzer, but it's holding that hyzer for a little too long, or holding the flat for a little too long. I'm going to guess that, yeah, Will is going with that same D1. You'll probably see a lot of these same discs over and over from these guys out here. Tighter line. He's aiming for the same tree. He hits it, but he does get a kick forward and left off of that tree. So even at the same tree that Simon did, he's going to have to. Then we're probably around 50 feet. I don't know if Nate is within putting distance, but EMAC is definitely in layup range. So Eric was a lot deeper than I thought he was. He is actually pin high. So that means that Will is a lot deeper as well. So Eric has about 80 feet. But he has branches in his way. So he, again, the smart shot lays up to about 10 feet. So Simon, after bouncing back off of the street, he's got about 45 or 50 foot. Looks like he's going to go from a knee. So this is almost exactly the same sort of putt that he hit on hole 2, or hole 1, I mean. And he bounces it off a limb, keeps pouring through, and he ends that putt. So apparently Simon just needs to start getting on one knee on every putt. He's 100 so far. So Nate with about a 50-footer, wide open, no real wind to speak of right now. Dups under the basket, doesn't quite keep his nose up, so now Will is going to step up on the left side, right to the circle's edge here. Something that he's definitely looking to make a good aggressive run at. And his actually does the opposite of Nate's. His lifts a little bit on his putt. It catches the top band and bounces to the left. So Will is going to have to clean up his short bounce there. Simon is in for 2. Everybody else cleans up their par. So while that's not a hole that you count as a birdie, it's want to have an opportunity for that. They all had pars on there. I'm sure they're not upset, but they wish things had gone a little bit different. Of feet of hole 6 there. However, a much different shot. While it is about the downhillness, if that's a new word, the only real shot here is to throw some sort of giant anhyzer or giant flick or roller here, but there is absolutely no righty line. So we'll see. He's got Simon has the ability to throw a flick this far. I don't know if anybody else on this card does. And actually, looking at what Simon is picking up right now, I think that he too. So Simon boasted during professional Q&A the other night that he could throw a putter 450 feet. Well, we have a 435-foot hole. He has grabbed a putter. Well, he just dropped it. So there's a couple of different pinch points on this fairway. We are throwing down on hole 7. There's a sidewalk running just on the right side of or a cart path running just on the right side of all of these trees. On the other side of that sidewalk is hole 9 coming up. I can see a couple of different players over there positioning their shots. And then right behind the basket that we are looking at is the tee-up box for hole 8, which is where the chase card is playing right now. And so our group might be waiting for those guys to get out. There are a lot. Looks like. We've got a slight, say, tops. The flag that's right here at the tees is moving just a tiny bit. Down behind the basket, there is a flag that's on hole 8's tee box that seems to be moving a little bit more. So that might be because of just the extreme nature of the wall of trees on the right. There's really nothing to do there. I guess you could try to throw a low power flat shot with a stable disc, but I mean you can only get that 8 to 10 feet high at the lowest spot. So you would have to you'd have to throw a shot that would go 600 something feet just in order to get this 430, because you're not going to be able to get it high enough to get any flight out of it.
It's up above the stakes now.
Yeah, yeah. And it was way I'm like, down in the water. I just keep rolling.
So it's still high. Oh yeah.
One thing I notice about disc golfers that I don't seem to pick up when I'm watching televised coverage of golf or the couple of professional tournaments that I've been to is that right now Eric and Nate are chatting away. It's cool to see that a lot of these players are friendly with one another, at least professionally friendly, if not all the way friendly. They're very polite. They're complimentary. When someone throws a good shot, they say as much. When someone hits a good putt, they say as much. Speaking of good putts, somebody on hole 9 just hit about a 50 or 60 foot uphill putt. That is a very, very difficult hole, which you'll have the opportunity to see here in just a little bit. But we've got a pretty typical par 3 here, and then probably, or it is definitely the shortest hole on the course, probably the best chance at a birdie 2. And then we step on to possibly the hardest hole on the course. So having those two back-to-back always makes for an interesting couple of holes to go from such an easy hole to such a difficult hole.
Runs in the basket. Mid-air. Yeah. Once you drop it, you're fine.
And he puts it up, and it is holding right. And he, when he said he could throw a putter that far, because he actually Eric is stepping up. I believe this is I guess that shows how much I know. He goes with a high ante around. Oh, and bounces left. He himself. Nate going with the. I can say that pretty. I think. Nate goes with the, oh, he was trying to hit a gap in between the two trees. It powers through it, but he's going to have about that same 200 feet that Eric is going to have. Will is now pulling out, this looks like his 400 GD3. This is his roller disc, I believe. Yeah, he gets it out. It looks a little. If it is standing up and holding to the right, he needs that to sit down. Oh, it looks like he has gone right. Looked like he had gone over the car path, but I thought I saw some people down there waving safe. So let's get down there, take a look, and see what Will was able to accomplish with that roller. That's a pretty aggressive shot. Tall as. But I did just hear someone tell Will, nice roller, so I'm guessing he stayed in bounds. And I guess it's possible. Oh, okay, I see. The tree he had, I thought, side of the OB path, but is actually inbounds. Will. For Nate Sexton to throw his second shot on this hole. on this hole. But Simon does it, and he's not upset at all with the final score, even though he's kind of upset with how he got it. So now we'll step over to hole 8. This is too unique thing about there's a creek running in front of the box, about 100 feet in front of the tee box. You have to actually clear that creek in order to be in. That's not an issue. I need some friggin'. I don't know what the hell's going on. Right, but I don't know what's happening at all. It's like, we're on a
Fear the water no more. The Golden Retriever by Dynamic Discs. An incredibly easy to use tool that goes from storage to use in seconds and helps you keep your feet and clothes dry. After uncoiling the rope, hold the rope in your non-throwing hand, and just like throwing a rope to a person in the water, toss the retriever to the far side of your disc. Pull back slowly with the rope centered on the disc. Once it latches on, pull slowly to retrieve. The retriever is lightweight and compact with a sturdy construction and rust-proof powder coat finish. Includes 50 feet of durable rope. The Golden Retriever by Dynamic Discs.
same spot as Will. These guys are absolutely fantastic. So one of the good parts about that technical difficulty is that brought Robert in out of the studio, and it brought him out here on the course with me. So Robert, welcome out here to the country club. Is it better out here in the daylight than in the cavern of the studio?
It is absolutely gorgeous out here. You wish you were out here. The grass is perfectly mowed. Conditions are pretty perfect for scoring. And I wanted to get you an update about a that's come in. Eagle Wynn McMahon has come in with a 50 out here, which is unofficially right now rated at 1064. Pretty hot shooting. Somebody in the chat here said that they thought Macbeth would come in with a 49, and we guessed that was around a 1080. So it looks like that would be pretty accurate, maybe 1070, 1075, something like that. But some hot runs come in. As we look at the live screen, we're kind of on the top two cards. Jeremy Coling, Paul Macbeth, and Will all. Simon is at 4 under, Ricky's at 4 under, Nate, Eric, and Dave are all at 3 under. So it looks like it's pretty tight within these top cards, but as we learn, 50 is going to be on their horse if they're going to catch up with him at this point.
So that 50 in relation to the course par, this is actually course par 60. So if the PDJ live scoring is saying 5 down, what they're saying is that if they were to par out every hole, they would shoot a 55. And yes, Eagle is a great player out of California, and he coming in with that 50 is an incredible round. And actually, I think that's an unofficial rating right now at 1064. I think you said, and so that actually I think is going to go up because, or it's going to be a better rating because I think a lot of these pros are going to come in the low 50s. There are 2 people to beat it, but that 50 is only going to go up when a bunch of 1030, 1040 rated golfers come in right around the same thing. So Nate has about 300 to go. standing at the basket judging distances to see who goes. Whoever is furthest away is going to go first if you're not familiar with the pace of play in disc golf. So it looks like Simon is up for about 15 to 20 feet. And Simon is up and in. Seems like we say that every hole. Another fantastic putt by Simon. So Will is going to be just inside of whatever Simon was right there. Barely got over the lip, but like they say, there are no pictures on scorecards, and so Will is going to write down his 3 and move on to the next hole. That is a great birdie on this hole. Eric is up and in for his penalty stroke 5. A little bit of confusion if you're moving from ball golf to disc golf. In ball golf, on the scorecard, when you get a birdie, you circle it. In disc golf, when you get a penalty stroke, at least in some parts of the country, you circle it. So we would call that a circle 5. In parts of the West Coast, they would say that that's a 5P, P meaning penalty. So Robert, they just came off a very difficult hole. So Eric is hoping he could have had a better score here. Simon and Will both got the birdie 3, so they're stepping to a hole that if you want to get a birdie, you got to be aggressive. So what do you think their mindsets are coming off of that, both from the bogey perspective and from the birdie perspective?
Just like we kind of talked about earlier in the round, if you start off with a couple of birdies, it's really easy to be confident, you know, and in order to play well, you need to be confident. But it's kind of like a catch-22, chicken and the egg kind of thing. If you're playing well, you're going to be confident, but you also need to be confident to play well. And so if you're coming off these birdies like these guys, they're going to be pretty excited about this next hole. This is a 400-foot hole, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty darn straight shot, and you've just got to pure it. And it's definitely a different. Oh, I'm talking about the wrong hole. Sorry, this one is a little bit uphill, about 320, accessible for all these players, and so 329 to be exact. So for the guys coming off a birdie, they're going to be pretty confident. For Eric, he's going to want to at least fake that confidence for a little bit, but he's a good enough player. He's not going to be too rattled by that. He's going to bounce right back, I feel like, and so this hole is definitely gettable. Could get these guys back on track.
Yeah, on our if you don't have the Glass Blown Open app, that's something that you should definitely download. It gives all the information for the tournament. On that app, someone let us know that during their practice round, they actually aced this hole.
if he'll steal his resolve right here and knock this putt down. This hole's kind of interesting in that you can see the tall grass on the right side of the basket. That's out of bounds tall grass over there, and the distance is really not that far. I mean, 329 is a putter for most of these guys, but they're all throwing a hyzer out over the tall grass. It just depends on how much they want to bite off, is how close they want to get to the basket, and so a lot of them will carry the tall grass and try to pin it, kind of like Simon did, but it's kind of intimidating to do because you're looking at that out of bounds the entire way. So it's all of our competitors are going to have putts here. It looks like Simon will probably be the closest, but yeah, I'm really interested to see if Eric can drop this putt for us. We've got quite a gallery following this card and the chase card, so I'm interested to see if he can put on a show for him.
And I'm loving the support that we're getting from the community as well as from the other disc golfers in town. One of the cool things about having a team time tournament like this is that so many people are not playing right now, and so once they get done, they can head out and watch. So Eric is stepping up first. He's got every bit of 65 feet. Slight left to right tailwind. basically because you have to throw a flat 410-foot shot through it. It's just a shot that a lot of golfers don't have. And we chalk this up saying, oh, anybody gets a 2 is going to have to just pipe one right down the middle 400 feet. Completely not idea that I guess someone could just step past that 400 flat shot and throw a 500-foot hyzer the way that Will and Simon just did. So, Robert, how come you didn't tell me that that was an idea on this hole?
You know that hyzer had not even entered. Simon and Will and these guys benefit of having both a backhand and a forehand is that the hyzer shot is always available to you. You know, if you follow disc golf, if you've played at all, you know that the disc naturally falls if you're a right-handed backhand. So now if you have a forehand shot, you've got that natural spin to the right. And it's a very, very predictable shot. And so I'm not surprised that the three guys who threw forehands did. It's a great place to do that, especially if you're going to be out of bounds. It's great to have a very overstable disc that you know is going to dive back at the end. But Eric just threw just a beautiful shot. I mean, it's incredible to watch in the air. Just the perfect anhyzer angle that floated all the way. It looks like he really had a chance at running that basket. So several ways to skin a cat here. The forehand is going to be pretty consistent and reliable just because it's a hyzer shot. But Eric has got the practice to throw that kind of beautiful turnover.
So Will here is about 40 feet, but there is a tree that is directly in his way. Up and in, center cut on that putt. That was a great putt by Nate. Hit the fat part of the chains, falls to the bottom. So now Simon after his flick. He is inside of Nate, so I'm guessing about 20. He's got some leaves tickling his neck from the tree, but he is out in front. Should be a pretty routine putt for him. And he is up and in. Two birdies in. Going to step up for his about 10-footer. And he is in for the deuce as well. That was just a great group of drives by this crowd. You see the Annie and you see the flick shot, forehand shot. Both having great success. Wow, these guys are good. So as we step over to hole 14, I believe. Excuse me, hole 13. Now we've got the next two holes are relatively similar as far as the layout of the hole. The distance is greatly different. However, the style of play here is difficult. So Robert, the next couple of holes, on both sides. So how do you approach a hole like this? Do you try to get as much distance as you can, or are you trying to play to a certain spot? How do you go about playing this hole?
Well, let me describe how I think a normal human, like a mere mortal, should play this hole, and then we'll see maybe how these guys are going to play this hole. So I think that mere mortals, those rated under maybe 10, 10, 10, 15, they're going to take a 3. They're not going to be able to throw 500 feet on a tight fairway and consistently find themselves in bounds. So I think it's going to be a smart play for them to just take
everybody. This is Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
And I'm Eric McCabe.
And we want to invite you to check out our podcast, The Disc Golf Answer Man, where myself and Eric McCabe, 2010 Pro World Champion.
So we had a good angle on the shot, and a bunch of players got in the way. What are the nerve of these people? So Simon throws the low 500-foot hyzer. Goodness gracious. That can be deep. If that's possible, that might be deep. That
and Eric McCabe, 2010 Pro World Champion. Golf questions, any questions on discs to choose, life on the road.
Don't forget about the Ralph updates.
And even Ralph updates. So check us out. We have segments where we talk about health and wellness of disc golf, mind, body, disc, and he talks about the mental part of the game. So check us out on iTunes or Stitcher, or just look us up at discgolfanswerman.com.
Ask every top-level player if putting practice is important, and you will get a unanimous yes. Introducing the Recruit Basket by Dynamic Discs. This basket is tournament quality at a practice price. It can be put together or taken down in about 2 minutes and comes with all the necessary hardware and tools.
Hey everybody, this is Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
And I'm Eric McCabe.
And we want to invite you to check out our podcast, The Disc Golf Answer Man, where myself and Eric McCabe, 2010 Pro World Champion, answers your disc golf questions, any questions on discs to choose, life on the road.
Don't forget about the Ralph updates.
And even Ralph updates. So check us out. We have segments where we talk about health and wellness of disc golf, mind, body, disc, and he talks about the mental part of the game. So check us out on iTunes or Stitcher, or just look us up at discgolfanswerman.com.
This is Bobby from Dynamic Disc, and I'm here to tell you about a product called Dymax. Dymax is a proprietary process we use to put the most detailed images on a disc. We can Dymax your tournament discs, or even send us your trophy discs. Send us an image and we'll Dymax it.
Can I Dymax my car?
Yeah, we can Dymax your car.
Can I Dymax my cat?
Yeah, we can Dymax your cat. Isn't he cute?
Can I Dymax my lunch?
Well, that's kind of weird, but yeah, we can Dymax your lunch. Go online today to order from our pre-made Dymax discs, or send in your image so we can create your custom Dymax. Learn more at dynamicdisc.com/Dymax.
Alrighty, so we are here on hole 14 of the course out here at the Municipal. It's a 646-foot hole, and in the same way that the last hole had OB pinching in on both sides, this one you're teeing off from the car path. Everything to the right side of the car path is OB. Tall grass on the left is OB, and actually about 250 feet in front of the box, the sidewalk cuts off to the right because there's a ball golf fairway. That ball golf fairway is actually out of bounds for the disc golf side, so it pinches down to probably about 80 feet wide. On a day like today where there's no wind, that shouldn't be very difficult for these guys to get to. Basically, they're going course designers like this put an OB on both sides of the course. Do you like those kind of shots? Do you think that's fair? Is this a good golf hole, do you think?
I do think this is a good golf hole. This fairway is plenty wide enough to hit with a variety of shots. You could, if you're a forehand dominant player, you could throw a forehand off this tee and find this fairway. Straight shot, hyzer, you can really do any of it. The kind of the beauty of this design is that the right side out of bounds kind of starts creeping in just a little bit as you get up the fairway, and so what looks like a very wide fairway on the box is actually quite a bit tighter when you get out to the 320, 350 range out here. It's not unbelievably tight, but because of that, it makes players second guess their angles sometimes. I think that's kind of what we saw with Nate right there. He might have just had a little misrelease, but because they know that side of the fairway is coming in just a little bit, it makes it a lot easier to try and hyzer to avoid that. And in doing so, it looks like he's made a mistake. I do like this design, though. It's a beautiful shot.
So Emacs put himself in a fine spot as far as left or right. However, he does have probably at least 320 feet down the hill. He's going with the prototype verdict. He needs to get down underneath that tree. And he gets a little skip. I think he is short and left. It's definitely within his putting range because he's a fantastic putter. However, I think he was probably trying to be a little bit closer than that right there. So Nate was indeed out of bounds. Great shot. No, that wasn't. No, yeah, that was a Z-Wasp. So Nate skips up that tree. I think is about 15 or 20 from the hole, and he was skipping right towards the basket, hit that tree, and stopped. So he's definitely inside the circle, probably 20 feet or so. Although he seems like he's a little upset, so he might still be thinking about the drive. So Will, going over here to choose his putter. Looks like he's going with his PA3. It's one of his approach putters. He actually carries looks like about 6 putters with varying stabilities based on wind conditions and distance that he needs to go. He's got probably a little over 200 feet downhill, but he has an open lane through the tree, so it's probably going to be pretty dead straight shot here. Actually, Will goes with the hyzer here, and he looks like he's pin high about 20 feet right. That's what we call Texas summer golf. He's just throwing to the shade. So now Simon going with his P2 here, his D-line P2. He goes with the Annie shot coming in. He looks like he's trying to make this. Oh, and he tickles off the tree, drops down to 3 or 4 feet. Great approach shot there from Simon. So Robert, on this length of approach shot here, it's definitely not a putt. It's an approach shot. Do you think it's better to go with the standstill shot? Is it better to try to do a regular approach and power down? What do you like to do on a shot like this?
On a shot from, say we're about, I don't know, 150 or 180 away, for me probably out to about 220, I prefer a standstill because there are less moving parts. It's very easy to focus on what your arm is doing and your rotation, and that's about it. You don't have to worry about hitting your steps or finding yourself just behind the disc, and it seems like a lot of these players favor that as well.
So Emac was about circle's edge, maybe a little less actually. So the interesting thing about this putt that Nate's going to have is while he is only about 20 feet right, there is a valley right in front of him going back up to the basket. And if you miss this putt, even if you are going to go 1 foot long, that's going to go down a valley and could leave you a 20 or 25 foot putt back up the hill. So Nate is actually looking at a pretty scary putt, even though he had the best drive of the group.
Wanted to give all the viewers a quick score update. If you haven't seen the scores, you can actually go to pdjlive.com and check out the first two cards and their current scores. Right now, the chase card is currently through hole 15, this hole that we just teed on, and with that hole completed, Jeremy Coling is on a blistering pace. He is shooting 13 under par on 15 holes. That's pretty incredible. Right on his tails is none other than McBeast himself, Paul Macbeth, shooting a 12 under. Now on the lead card, we've got Will Shoestrick and Simon Lizotte. Both of those guys are at 10 under through 14, so they've got a chance to be 11 under after this hole. David Feldberg is at 9 under through 15. Eric McCabe is at 5 under through 14, and Ricky Wysocki is 5 under through 15 right now. It looks like the injury is plaguing him a little bit. He's not quite having the round that we expect for him to have, but I'm pretty sure he'll bounce back from that. And then Nate Doss is at -4 through 14. So really interested to see what these guys come in with. They're on a very hot pace right now.
So as we get up to the hole here, you can start to see the terrain here. There are many peaks and valleys all around this basket, and so there's definitely good spots to be and bad spots to be on this green. The reality is that if you are 10 feet left of the basket, if that's where you're going, even though that's an overthrow, that's probably the best spot to be, because it puts you down in the valley. It doesn't allow you to skip out, and you've got a relatively close shot. So the group in front of us is teeing off their tee box is pretty close to the green that we're on right now. So actually, the players are waiting. Emac's actually over there chatting it up with a couple of the players, staying nice and loose. In the years before that I was at this tournament, I always flew in from out of town, and I would hear him talk about every time that, wow, Emac put all this work in, and it's amazing that he's even out here playing because he's worked so hard. But I got to see that firsthand this year, and I got to tell you, that guy is incredible work ethic to make this a fantastic tournament. So now Will is lining up, putting right at us from about 60 feet up the hill. And that almost looked like he was just laying up for an approach, not really going for it. But Will has left it to just a couple of feet long. Now Emac is stepping up to just inside of that, probably 50 feet. On that hole by Nate. Everybody else is going to clean up their threes. Simon is still practicing his form, trying to figure out what he did wrong there. And I think this goes back to what Robert, what you were saying earlier about putt confidently or layup confidently. Did you think that Simon got stuck in between there?
It did kind of look like that, and this is a really easy place to do that, because if you were standing on the spot that we're on, you would see Simon's putt is pretty level with the basket, maybe slightly uphill, but I don't think the camera gives enough credit to the downhill behind that. So if you were to miss that right
side, left side, low, it doesn't really matter. He's looking at least 25 or 30 coming back up the hill, and so it's going to be a tough spot. So yeah, it did seem like he was kind of caught up. It was good for him to hit metal, but he's got to be a little more committed if he wants to jam those putts in.
Disc golf is a sport growing in popularity all over the United States and around the world. Dynamic Discs is the premier disc golf manufacturer, distributor, and retailer for enthusiasts, beginners, experts, and hardcore players. Along with hosting some of the best professional disc golf association tournaments in the country, Dynamic Discs also takes pride in offering the best customer service in the disc golf industry. At Dynamic Discs, customer service isn't just a department, it's the way we do business. Our entire staff at Dynamic Discs is knowledgeable and passionate about growing the sport and providing you with an exceptional experience. We know how important it is to get the products that you order in your hands as quickly as possible. Orders are shipped immediately from our own inventory and arrive at your doorstep in 2 to 3 days to almost any location around the United States. Check us out at dynamicdiscs.com.
So hole 16 here is 359-foot hole, OB pinching in on the right and the left, and there's actually a tunnel that you're trying to hit right off the box. Nate looks like he is going with his Z pred here. Actually, this is a Z force. So it looks like he's going to try to play that dead straight shot with a little bit of Anheuser, and then hyzer back at the end. You have tall grass on the left and short, although the water that's directly in front here is not really in play for these guys unless they hit a tree. And it was a good angle. It was just not high enough. This is a deceptive hole. You gotta throw it a lot further than you feel like you might need to. It's just a lot of green space out there that you gotta cover after the water. But there's a couple of mounds, and so it doesn't look as far as it actually is. We're going with an M3 right here. That's a mid-range disc. Oh my goodness. Incredible again. Fantastic shot. Simon looks like that was his P2 right there, and his C-line P2, and he has gone OB left. EMAC with the Johnny McRae St. Pro. It needs to get down. He's heading towards OB, and he does. So he is inbounds, but far out. The skill level that Will just took on that shot, when I saw that he was taking an M4 out, I was getting ready to, as soon as he threw, I was going to chastise him for not getting a fast enough disc, because it's just, this is like I finished saying right before Will threw, this hole is a lot longer than it appears. So when he pulled out that M4, I thought for sure he was going to shorten. He almost gave it an ace run. Robert, how come you didn't?
You know, that's actually fairly difficult to execute if you didn't know that, Dixon. Straight, just easy mid-range, hyzer flip, basket about 360 feet away with a low ceiling is not the easiest shot to pull off. Surprised you didn't know that. It seemed like kind of the opposite of what you were saying. Simon could definitely throw a mid-range there. Honestly, he could probably throw his putter. He throws so very far. and he took a fairway driver and just backed off of it a little bit, and that's not really his style. He seems to be pretty aggressive all the time. So that decision looks like he got a little unlucky with an air bounce right there, but I don't know. I thought that was going to be a much straighter disc from Simon, so kind of surprised by his choice here.
Yeah, I looked at the wrong place on my notes. That was a PD2 that he threw, not the P2. I guess I'm just giving him too much credit. So Simon has gone out of bounds. Here, trying to find it so that they can give him an accurate spot. So actually, Will and Eric were on the way over, but somebody from the previous card let them know where it went out of bounds. So yeah, actually in disc golf, if someone is looking for their disc, as a competitor, someone else on the card, you're required to go help. And actually the timing that you have to find your disc doesn't begin until everybody is assisting you. So it's a pretty cool rule to help everybody kind of, we're all in it together, and let's help each other out. And Emac and Nate and Simon are all at about 100 feet out. Emac goes first and lays Ralph up there to the left side of the basket. Nate's turn now. Challenger's up. Oh, a good line. Just comes up a little bit short. And good.
This just in, Simon is good at disc golf.
Breaking news. Can we get some sort of graphic and Simon succeeds at disc golf. So now Will needs to go about 20 feet after that fantastic shot, coming right back at us. And Simon is up and in as well. So just about all of these shots, I'm kind of crafting a storyline in my head of what I'm going to say afterwards, and so I was all prepared to talk about Simon and how he's kind of gotten away from his game the last couple of shots, and that was a weak putt and then a weak drive, and then he threw that one in. And I was also thinking about talking about how none of our players have really made any long putts this round, with the exception of Simon's two putts from his knee, and then he goes and throws that in. That's every bit of 100 feet. That yeah, I wish we could show you the replay right away, because that was just pretty much a normal putting throw. That wasn't a jump putt. That wasn't a walkthrough. He just kind of stood there and flicked his wrist, and the disc went 100 feet, and just kept going and went all the way to the basket. The other interesting about it, at least from the angle I was standing, is that it looked like it was too much of a hyzer angle when he first let it go. But I guess that goes to show you how much spin he's actually putting on the disc. Is that even on a putt, he can hyzer flip a shot, which I didn't really know was possible. But that disc, it stayed hyzer, but there was enough spin on it that it kept going flat long enough to reach the basket.
Yeah, if you're watching and you haven't had the opportunity to watch Simon play in person, it is really incredible, the amount of spin he puts on every shot, just like Dixon said. Definitely his drives, we know about that, but his putting motion is so fluid, so easy. It's just, I mean, it's like you said, he threw that in from about 100 feet, like he was on about a 20-footer. Really incredible putt.
Yeah, while we love that everybody is watching the coverage, if you have the opportunity to get to Emporia in the next day or two to come watch this in person, the weather's going to be fantastic. The courses are perfect. And you can see these guys. Plus, we have our incredible block party on Saturday night, where the finals of the putting competition is going to be. So here we go to hole 17. force. I bet we've got well over 100 people between these two cards, probably closer to 150, and we're approaching back to the clubhouse where a bunch of people just never left there. They are happy to sit over there and eat sandwiches and hot dogs and whatnot from the grill in the clubhouse. So now Emac going with his Lucid Felon for a flick around. So this is going to be the second time this round we've seen an Emac flick. He almost puts that in. So we give him a hard time about not throwing flicks very often. In reality, he's a world champion, and his flick is actually pretty good. So he's good at it, even though he doesn't throw it very much, which is just I know something he's been working on the last couple of years. So it's a testament to all you that just because these guys are so good doesn't mean that they have every shot in the game. They're still working. They're still trying to get better, and the craft that they're really trying to perfect. Will's going to drop to a knee from about 55 feet. He's got some low-hanging branches that are about 15 feet in front of him. Up and he needs a hyzer. Oh, I thought that was going to get some good angle on it once he let it go. So Simon steps in front of the tree, so he's probably at about 45, but he's not very far in front of the tree, so his back, his lean back's going to be impacted a little bit. Simon has gone out around to the right and long. He's upset that he didn't get this hole. So Nate now is pin high, about 40 feet to the right. He's got the best looking opportunity for a birdie on this hole of the bunch. Oh, and Nate leaves it a little short. So it looks like everybody's going to have a chance to clean up their pars. I think Emac is probably the longest, but that only looks like about 15 feet or so. Simon throws up and in relatively quickly. He gets his three, and now Emac in from about the same 15 feet. And he hits right side chains, falls out to the ground. That may have been a little closer to 20, but still something that he plans on getting, something that he practices a lot. Will is up and in for his three. And then Nate will come and clean up his three, and Emac with his four. So it looks like there's been an incredible round going around us. Robert, an update for us here about something that we just didn't think was really doable.
All right. Yeah, so when we drove around this course the last couple of days, Dixon and I looking through our mere mortal disc golf eyes, we're thinking, 50 is going to be pretty good, and we heard some of that from other competitors, but we thought maybe somebody might go lower than 50, maybe one or two people. Well, right now as we speak, Jeremy Colling is on hole 17, or has completed hole 17, is on hole 18, and he's at 14 under par. His round total right now is a 43. So, if he gets a 3 on hole 18, he's going to shoot a 46. That is unbelievable out here. Paul Macbeth is just 2 strokes behind him at -12. Then Will is back one of them, 11 down, and then Simon is at 10 under right now, putting together some really, really good rounds.
So 18 side of that middle tree, and they're going to have to anhyzer it out over the tall grass, and then hyzer back in on the back side of it. They basically have to intentionally throw it towards OB and play it out. Being that I've seen some of these guys throw mid-ranges this far, it's possible they could throw a mid-range right at it, but I think they're going to try to play the bending shot here. Yeah, Will's going with either the D1 or the D3 here. D1, and he put it out to the right, but that was a very stable disc, and it fought back almost immediately. But that's the safe way to play this hole. He's got about 150 feet up and down for the 3. Nate with the Z pred, and it does not turn over the way he was hoping. He's going to hyzer way out there over by Will. So easy, safe shots for these guys, but not very aggressive. And again, Simon pulls out a shot that nobody really thought about. He throws a big hyzer with a PD2 around everything over the tall grass. Gets pin high, but he's left about 40 feet or so. EMAC trying to go with the biofusion enforcer and snap it hard enough where it turns over anhyzer. But last shot of the round here, it looks like he was a little bit tired, and it does not snap over, and he hyzers right into the guardian tree.
You may not be able to tell this from our camera vantage right here, but this hole is actually a kind of a difficult shot. In order to get close to the basket, you have to do one of two things. The more difficult would be to throw a straight stall shot, which is almost impossible at 383, but the straight shot is available to you. The other would be, I think, what our competitors were trying to do here, which is to flex the shot out over the tall grass and swing it back in. Now, that's always going to be a risky shot because sometimes you don't know if this is going to come back. So it seems like all of our competitors went a little more overstable to play out to the left side and be safe. But yeah, it may look like an easy shot on the camera. It is actually pretty difficult.
So EMAC hit this tree falling on the back side. He's got his shield out. Looks like he's got about a 200-foot approach. He puts it out to the right. It's swinging back. And he's lifted himself about 15 or 20 feet to clean up for his par on the last hole.
Hey everybody, this is Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze.
And I'm Eric McCabe.
And we want to invite you to check out our podcast, The Disc Golf Answer Man, where myself and Eric McCabe, 2010 Pro World Champion, answers your disc golf questions. Any questions on discs to choose, life on the road.
Don't forget about the Ralph updates.
And even Ralph updates. So check us out. We have segments where we talk about health and wellness of disc golf, mind, body, disc, and he talks about the mental part of the game. So check us out on iTunes or Stitcher, or just look us up at discgolfanswerman.com.